more or less treated like animals. Like, I was treated like an animal. You know, wasn't allowed. There was a lot of places we wasn't allowed to go. We couldn't go into white people houses or nothing like that. We could go to the back door, and we wasn't allowed in the front yard. And and growing up, coming up with as I grew, we wasn't allowed to look in the direction of a white girl. If she was walking toward, we had to hold our head down or change the side of the street, to get on the other side. And we wouldn't dare if we couldn't buy a Coca-Cola. They didn't want you wearing a white shirt. Black man didn't wear a white shirt back then. And unless you was a preacher. If you was a preacher, you could get by with it. Other than that, you couldn't wear a white shirt. They would, some of them would actually take it off you or beat you or whatever, Nothing you could do. And the N-word, I really thought that's what I was until I grew up to know better. Because that's all. He needed us to work in the fields. He'd come to school and get us out of school. He'd go by the house and tell Mr. Pond that get his children, and all of us would be at Snow Hill in the school. And he'd come up there and they'd load us up in a wagon and take us to the field. We had to go. Nothing you could do. He couldn't say leave by children, but see, their children was in school. And on the way to school sometimes, they had a bus. They rode a bus, and we had to walk. And when we saw the bus coming, we had to hit the ditch. Mm-hmm. Because they would take water or whatever it was and try to spit on us or throw things at us, and we had to jump the ditch to keep them from doing that. And it wasn't easy, but we grew used to it. It got to be a way of life. White person say you did something, you couldn't deny it to them. But you get home, you tell your grandmama, said, Grandmama, I didn't do that. I didn't do that. He telling the story on me. Well, she'd believe me. One night I got off from work, and I came out and I was standing waiting on my friend to come out. We worked together. And he said, I got to go back in there, and he went back in to get something. And when he went back in, a white fella walked up to me and said, who you waiting on? I said, I'm waiting on my friend to come out. And he hauled off and kicked me. Wow. And he said, well, you wait on him then. I said, yes, sir. Then after we got up here, I was working at that same restaurant I was telling you about. I woke up one morning and everybody, they was gathered up down to the funeral home. And there was a difference in a lynching and a mob. When they lynch you, they hang you. When they mob you, they just take it and beat you to death. So I went down to the funeral. They said they had mobbed a fella. So I went down to the funeral home, and I went in and looked at the body, and everybody was looking at the body, and you could actually see the butt end of axe handles in his skull, where they had knocked holes in his skull. He didn't tell that boy or nothing like that. That's what he called you. So it was in me that that's all I was. Until when I went to the military, I went there and I saw where going through the line one day, getting checked, we going through getting checked out. And I saw that doctor, how he was treating niggers the same as it was them white boys. And I said, Cause we call it down here Jim Crow. This must not be a Jim Crow state. That's all Grandmama knew that had taught us, and she tells us how to do to stay out of trouble with the white man. And when I saw how that doctor was treating them, and went to the dining hall. When I got off the train, we went in that dining hall, and I was getting fixed to get behind the line. So the man said, "Just get back in line there, get your tray up there." And we was all eating together. This is this is something new.
Did you ever participate in boycotts or?
No, I never did. I never did. Cause I didn't want to do nothing. I didn't want to get them on. I didn't want to do nothing to my mama and my family. So I never did. And that's what they would do. They didn't care. They didn't care whether children, crippled, blind, or crazy was in the house. If they wanted to burn it down, they stick fire to it. So I didn't want to mess with my family. And they taken it beat you.
You there?
I'm here. So
Okay.
your mother, Zelma Henderson, now she was a plaintiff on the Brown versus Education to get schools integrated, correct?
Right.
Do you remember her reasoning why?